In 2014, we announced that we had removed all antibiotics, human antibiotics, from our chickens, about 2/3 at that time, and made that announcement. The hardest part getting to that point was the hatcheries. We have about a dozen hatcheries, and in the hatchery there is a human antibiotic that's used routinely. But really we found out that we just had to clean up our act in the hatcheries quite a bit.
How do you even know how to start? Where do you start?
This was a big effort. We harvest about 13 million chickens a week, so it's quite an effort to do that across all of our product lines. No antibiotics ever chicken's been out there. It's not unusual. But in a size that we come in with, that was different. And so, but in the hatcheries, just as an example, you know, eggs coming from a farm that come to the hatchery dirty is where you get a lot of problems. So we were the biggest user, and still today, of baby wipes. We wipe each egg at the farm before the eggs come in.
Okay.
That's one example of helping to clean up, you know, what's going on in the hatchery. So, and once we figured out the hatcheries in 2014, we now today can announce that actually we're, the only antibiotic left that we were using was an animal-only antibiotic, not a human antibiotic. And today we're announcing actually we've now eliminated that. So now 100% of all of our chickens are not receiving antibiotics unless they're sick. If they're sick, which is about 5%.
Well, so what chickens do get sick,
They
right?
get sick because it's like a kindergarten. I mean, they're all together, you know, and they spread bronchial diseases and that sort of thing. So we will treat them. A prescription from a vet, 3 days or 4 days in the water.
Antibiotics, they get antibiotics.
An antibiotic, but they just don't go out with a Perdue brand.
How do you get the chickens big without using the antibiotics or other things that you're kind of...
Well, you know, a lot of times you do things and you think you're like growth promoting antibiotics. We took it out. There was no difference in the growth. We didn't see any difference. So this whole idea that you can create a gut in a chicken that will maximize absorption and therefore grow faster, we didn't see that as something. We had been using it because we'd always used it, which is not a good reason to do anything. And we also found through the Coleman acquisition, and they have organic chicken, and so now we're the largest organic producer in the United States of chickens, which is not only the feed that has to be non-GMO and no pesticides, herbicides for 3 years, I think was mentioned earlier, but they also have to have pasture access. They have to have full light, 6 hours of sleep at night. There are density differences, and there are enhancements, things that the chickens can play with, okay, in the house. And that may sound funny, but what we have found is that the organic chickens are twice as active as our chickens were in our houses, which have no windows. They're mostly solid sidewall. And so from that, you know, we want to be a learning organization. We don't know why an organic meat seems to be different. It seems to be more preferred. And I should say early, one of the big changes we made with the antibiotics is all diets in poultry are soybeans, corn, soybean meal, corn, and then most everybody uses animal byproducts to supplement protein, and they need calories in the form of fat or lard. And so animal fat was added for the calories. When we embarked on the No Antibiotics Ever program, we went to an all-veggie diet and completed that in 2007. So we replaced the animal byproducts with more soybean meal. We replaced the lard with corn oil or soybean oil, which we found actually gave a better flavor, which makes sense because fat is flavor, and now you have a polyunsaturated fat in the chicken and not a monosaturated fat in the chicken.